sag and then the effects of sag, and on different types of the effects of sag and then the factors that are affecting the sag. And in the previous lecture video we were discussing about the sag at the equal level supports, and we all understood the importance of the weight of the transmission line as well as the length of the span that affects the sag. So the total tension on the sag is inversely proportional to the sag that exists between the two supports. So the sag, yes, we derived the formula as WT L square divided by 8T, and let's understand what are the factors that affects the sag. So in the formula itself we can understand that the length of the span is more. If the length of the span is more, then it is directly proportional to the sag that exists between the two supports. So the weight of the conductor is also directly proportional to the sag, and when the weight of the transmission line is more, then the sag will also be more, and the weight of the transmission line is more, so we can understand that it is related to the length, and the sag is measured in terms of kg per meter. The length of the span, the sag is directly proportional to the length of the span. With the increased length of the conductor, the sag also increases. So therefore the higher the value of the span length, higher the sag, and it is measured in meters. So the working tensile stress, when we know that the formula is sag is equal to WT L square divided by 8T. Here the T is inversely proportional to the sag. So sag is inversely proportional to the working tensile strength, and it is measured in kg. When we think about the weather conditions, the temperature matters a lot and it affects the sag. So the temperature, length of the conductor increases with the change in the temperature between the fixed supports. Once the temperature increases, the ductile material will have the property to expand. So the sag too will increase, and it is measured in terms of degree centigrade. Temperature is measured in terms of degree centigrade. So the safety factor is nothing but equal to the ultimate strength per working stress. So therefore the length of the wire and the perimeter of the conductor between the span, in terms of the span length and the sag, can be calculated by using the formula L is equal to capital L multiplied by 1 plus 8S square divided by 3L square, where in this formula S is nothing but the sag or deflection, L is nothing but the total length, the span length, and small l is nothing but the length of the wire. So we understood the sag that exists between the two fixed supports, that is the two supports which are at the same level, and now we can think about the calculation of the sag when the supports are at the different level. This kind of condition exists when a river crosses, or when there are two transmission lines on either side of the mountain, or it can be either side of the river, or it can be either side of the small hills. So the supports can be at the different levels, and then the shape of the sag will also be different. So here in this case it will be the unsymmetrical span, and in this condition the ground levels will be at different levels, and as it is as shown in the figure. It is necessary to use the supports at the different levels, and we need to transmit the power from one side to other side. So the figure shows the two supports which are at the two different levels, and in this A and B are the supports, and we have considered one point O as the point that is at the lowest level because of the sag, and x1 is the distance from the lowest point to the support A, x2 is the distance from the support B to the lowest point on the conductor. When we see this figure, we can understand that the total span length is L, and the sag from the highest point of the support A to the lowest point of the conductor is S1, and similarly the sag S2 is nothing but the distance between the height difference between the maximum point, that is the highest point of the conductor B, to the lowest part of the part on the conductor, sagged conductor O. So the difference between the highest point of the conductor A and then the conductor B is nothing but the h, the height. Let us derive the expression for the sag by considering So if we see here, then we can understand that x1 has got three conditions which can be derived to understand where the lowest point can exist. So the lowest point will exist if at all x1 is negative, then the lowest point of the curve will lie outside the actual span. It must be noted that the lowest point is always at the lower support, on the lower support side. It will never be on the higher support side. So if we can understand that x1 is equal to 0, then L divided by 2 is equal to TH divided by WL. If this is TH divided by WL is, then it decides that the lowest points of the curve will be at the lower support point. So if the x1 is negative, then it will go beyond the curve. If x1 is equal to 0, then the lowest point of the curve will be at the lower support point. So after knowing these three conditions for the unequal support, sag at the unequal supports, we can solve some of the numericals where it is mentioned that in one of the numerical it is mentioned that the total ultimate strength is given, the span length is given, safety factor is also given, and then the span length is 160 meter, and it is asked to calculate the sag, and it is asked to calculate the total length of the line between the two spans. So if this is the case, then how to calculate the sag? Sag can be calculated by using the formula WL square divided by 8T. But to know what is T, then we need to use the formula for the tensile strength and the factor of safety. T is nothing but equal to the tensile strength divided by the factor of safety. So it is 8000 divided by 4, that is equal to 2000. So using that we can calculate the formula, using the formula we can calculate the sag. Then sag is calculated with W into L square divided by 8T, then it works out to be 6.4 meter. After calculating the the sag, then we can think about the portion B, that is the option B. They have asked in the problem total length of the line between the spans. Total span of the conductor in the span is nothing but equal to L is equal to L into 1 plus W square L square divided by 24T square. So if we expand this, it will be capital L plus W square L cube divided by 24T square. If we substitute the values, then we will get 160.73 meters. Similarly, we have solved many of the problems which are from the university, and then one of the problems is that 95 meters, the two towers with the different heights, 95 meters and then the 70 meters, and then the weight is already given. The horizontal distance between the towers is given as 400 meters, which is nothing but the total span length L, and the weight of the conductor is also given, that is nothing but 0.8 kg per meter. So now in the numerical it is asked that sag at the lower support should be calculated for the data which is given, and the sag at the upper support should be calculated. Clearance of lowest point on trajectory from the water level should be calculated. First, if we plot according to the data, if we plot the diagram, then we can consider the point O at the lowest point, and that is near to the lower support. Using the formula sag at the lower support, we can calculate x1 and x2, which are nothing but the distance from the lowest point to the respective supports. So in this particular problem, we can understand that h is nothing but the height from the highest point of the tower to the lowest point of the from the other tower, the height of the other tower, that the maximum height of the other tower. So h is equal to s2 minus s1. By knowing s2 minus s1, we can calculate what is the h, that is 95 minus 70 are the heights of that particular towers, that is nothing but 25 meters, and L is equal to 400 meters. So with this sag can be calculated. Sag can be calculated by using the formula x1 is equal to L divided by 2 minus TH divided by WL, and similarly x2 is nothing but x1 plus x2 is equal to L, so x2 is nothing but L minus x1. We can calculate the value for this. X2 is equal to L divided by 2 plus TH divided by L. Then calculate the value by substituting all the values that is given in the problem. So now we can calculate the sag at the lower support, which is nothing but S1 is equal to Wx1 square divided by 2T. X1 is already calculated, T value and W value is known. Substitute, we get 4.731. Similarly, calculate the sag at the upper support, which is nothing but Wx2 square divided by 2T. Then we can understand that we can substitute the values and we can get the value for S2 also. So what is the clearance of the lowest point on the trajectory from the water? Because we need to understand that the point B is at 95 meter from the water level, whereas the point O, which is the lowest level on the trajectory, is at S2 is equal to 29.731 meters, which we have calculated from the top of the support B. Now the clearance of the point O is nothing but equal to the total height of the height of the highest support, that is 95 meter, minus the sag, that is 29.731, which gives us the clearance of the point O from the river level, that is 65.2689. Similarly, I have calculated some of the problems here which can be calculated using the data whichever is given in the numericals, and then using the formulas for the S1, X1 and X2, you can calculate the sags S1 and S2. And similarly, we have given one problem where X1 is less than 0, then the point of X1 point O shifts onto the beyond the level support, that's beyond the smallest support, that is the lowest support. So here in this one of the problem, it is given that the clearance between the water and the conductor at the midpoint of the two conductors, that is 59.9865 plus 5.27, that is 65.2565. Here you can see that point O has shifted beyond the level, beyond the lower support. Then this is the point where the lowest point on the sag curve exists. So what are the effects of the atmospheric conditions on the transmission line? Extreme weather conditions can be two. One is the extreme temperature and the other one is the extreme cold region. So if we think about the northern part of India, we can think about both the seasons. Like if we think about Rajasthan, we can think about the extreme temperatures, whereas if we think about Himachal Pradesh and then the Jammu and Kashmir, we can think about the cold regions, the cold climatic conditions also, where the ice is going to be formed on the transmission lines. So the transformer, that is a conductor that exists, that gets affected by the two atmospheric conditions like ice and wind. So the weight of the conductor when it gets coated with the ice, that increases, and once the weight increases, the sag also increases. The weight of the conductor along the conditions, along with this, the condition affects the transmission line. And here we can calculate what is the effect of the ice coating on the bare conductor. Hence the sag calculations under these conditions will also differ from the one which we have considered earlier. So the two severe atmospheric conditions, as I already mentioned, one is the ice coating and the other one is the wind pressure. So due to the ice coating, what is the effect of the ice coating on the conductor? Here the figure shows the conductor with the ice coating, with the layer of ice coating. When the transmission line is coated with the ice, the thickness of the conductor increases, and the sag also increases, and the size of the conductor increases. So the thickness depends on the weather conditions, and then it causes the increase in the size of the conductor. So the weight of the ice acts vertically downwards in the same direction as that of the conductor. Now consider a conductor as shown in the figure with the diameter d, and then it's coated with the ice of the thickness with the t, as thickness of the ice is considered as t. Overall diameter of the coated conductor is d. So when we consider d is nothing but equal to d plus 2t. When we see this figure, we can understand that d is the diameter of the conductor, t is the thickness of the ice on both the sides. So the total d is nothing but d plus 2t. So the total d is nothing but d plus 2t. That is the area of the coated conductor can be calculated by using the formula pi d square divided by 4. So pi into d plus 2t whole square divided by 4. Keep this as equation 1. Now the area of the ice covering is nothing but ai, that is I is used as a subscript because of the ice coating. Ai is nothing but equal to pi divided by 4 into d square minus d square meter square. That is it is expressed in terms of meter square. Keep this as equation 2. Now volume of the ice in the meter cube is expressed in terms of meter cube per meter length of the conductor. Area ai in meter square of the d, and dr is in r in meters. So the density of the ice is standard, that is 915 kg per meter cube. The total weight of the ice can be obtained as Wi is equal to 915 multiplied by pi divided by 4 into d square minus d square meter square kg per meter. Weight of the ice per unit length. Now weight of the weight that acts vertically downwards. Now the d is nothing but So effect of ice is nothing but d. When we see this, d is equal to d plus 2t. Substituting in 3, equation 3, we get the weight due to the ice coating. Wi is equal to 915 into pi divided by 4 into d square minus d square. D is nothing but equal to d plus 2t. D plus 2t whole square minus d square. 915 into pi divided by 4. Expand this equation, we will get 915 into pi into dt plus t square. Take the t as common. Wi is equal to 915 into pi t into d plus t kg per meter. Keep this as equation 4. Now after calculating the weight due to the ice coating, the weight per unit length will be nothing but equal to density of the ice in pi t into d plus t kg per meters. So now after calculating after knowing what is the weight of the ice coating we can understand, we can go to the next section, effect of wind pressure. Conductor is as shown in the figure, and then the wind pressure is always on the horizontal side, and then the horizontal pressure. Wind flows horizontally, and then hence the wind pressure is also horizontal. Wind pressure on the conductor is perpendicular to the conductor. So pressure is perpendicular to the conductor because the wind blows horizontally. Now the direction of the wind force is shown in the figure, and therefore the force due to the wind acts on the right angles because force is this way, that is horizontal, pressure is on the vertical side, so at the right angles to the projected surfaces of the conductor. So the wind force Ww can be obtained as Ww is equal to wind force per unit length of the length in kg per meter, that is equal to wind pressure per unit area multiplied by projected surface area per unit length, that is equal to wind pressure into d plus 2t into 1, that is Ww is equal to p into d plus 2t. That is P is equal to wind pressure in kg per meter square, D is equal to diameter of conductor, T is equal to thickness of the ice coating if exists. So hence the conductor gets acted upon by two additional forces, the one vertically downwards due to the wind and the other one due to the ice coating, that is Wi. So the vertically downwards, that is Wi, and then one in the horizontal direction, Ww. So the wind pressure is in the pressure, that is the conductor gets acted upon by the two additional forces, that is one is on the horizontal direction, that is Ww, and one due to the weight of the ice, that is due to the ice coating, that is vertically acting downwards, that is Wi. Now let us see this diagram and then analyze what is going to be the effect of the ice and the wind together. So we know that Ww is in the horizontal direction, Wi is in the vertical direction, and weight of the conductor itself is acting downwards. So we need to add the weight of the conductor W also to it. So W plus Wi is in the vertical direction. So the resultant of 2 will be the Wt. Wt is the weight of the ice acting, Wi is the weight of the ice acting vertically downwards, so W plus Wi, and then the Ww is the weight due to the horizontal weight of the conductor is due to the horizontal force, that is Ww, due to the wind pressure. Now it is important points because with this is the total weight acting on the conductor is the vector sum of both these pressures, that is vertical and then the horizontal forces, and it can be Wt is nothing but equal to total weight of the conductor, which is nothing but equal to square root of W plus Wi whole square plus Ww whole square. Now the sag direction is at an angle of theta measured from the vertical, hence the sag is called as slant slag. Slant slag is nothing but equal to Wt L square divided by 8t. Now the conductor adjusts itself in the plane which is at an angle theta with respect to the vertical. The angle is given by tan theta is equal to, from the figure you can see that tan theta is nothing but equal to Ww divided by W plus Wi. Now the slant sag is in the direction at an angle theta with respect to the vertical. Hence the vertical sag is nothing but the cosine component of the sag S. Vertical sag is equal to S into cos theta. Now what is the factor of safety? Factor of safety, when we calculate the sag and the tension at any conductor, the factor of safety is going to be considered because of the ultimate strength and then the tensile strength. Every conductor has got certain ultimate strength and it is which it can sustain. So if the tension increases beyond a value, the mechanical failure of the conductor will occur, and then the ultimate strength that